analyze a little bit about some of these different techniques to answer questions. You heard me do the objections, right? It's not like I had a shortage of anywhere to go with this stuff. I had a deep well, and I just got started. I always tell people that I don't take the warm-up jacket off till about my 6th or 7th objection. Then I start to feel a little bit perspiration on my back, and I'm like, okay, time to take a jacket off and let's get serious. This customer is getting serious with me. Let's go. It's go time. And now I get kind of excited. Like, this is really going to be a good one, and I'm going to have a chance to really start handling objections here. I get excited about the fact that even if I don't win the game, you know, the war is obviously to get the job, right? But I get excited just sometimes to go through all the objections and I just take the entire all the ammunition in my cache and just put it in the gun and let them fire away. You ever do that with your guns? Just take them out and shoot them. It's like the same thing. You gotta take the car out and clean the carburetor out every now and then, right? You gotta get it on the open highway and let it fly, right? Let it happen. You gotta throw that ball as hard as you can sometimes. Just see what happens, right? Well, that's what I would say. That's what you should look at too. Don't look at like it's a problem when the objections become more and more. Just look at like I'm probably not going to get this job now. That's all. I'm probably not going to get the job. But guess what? Since I don't get the job, I care even less about it now. Right? So if you're not going to get the job, let's just hang in there and let's even do more. Let's see how long it goes before this guy tells me to leave. Let's see if I can get to the point where he tells me to get out of here. But here's the thing. Here's why he doesn't tell me to get out of here. Why doesn't he tell me to get out of here? You guys see what I do when I handle objections? Do I just start fighting you immediately with a question? What's the very first thing I do every single time you give me an objection? Agree with you. I understand it is a lot to consider. I understand times are tough and the economy is bad and we're all suffering financially. But can I ask you a question? As soon as I say the word but, what happens to the thing I disagreed with? Goes off to the side for now. Probably forever as far as I'm concerned. Right? But can I ask you a question? Nice, stop. What's that, Joe? Well, when's the last time you bought something where you had the highest quality where the price was cheapest? So I use that word cheap there too on purpose to make it sound like it's not good. Highest quality, cheapest price. I use the ugly term for the money part of it, right? So same thing there. You guys can do the same thing. Agree with what the person's saying. It's your first step to handling objections is make your agreement. Don't screw around. It should be autopilot. There's nothing to think about. You know, if somebody says objection, you see it coming, we've got to think about it. I understand it takes a lot of thought to do this kind of thing, Joe. So what should we do? You agree with it? So what should we do? That's a quick one, right? They say, Joe, can I have like the week to think about it? Hey, I understand. A week might take more time. Maybe more time is good for you. I'm not sure. Here's the formula I kind of do for that. I'll tell you what the formula for that softening statement is. Think of this, guys. It's like, yeah, you know, I understand. You might, I use the word might. Sure, you might need more time. I can see what you mean by that. You know, maybe more time is better. Might, maybe more time is better. But can I ask you a question? So might and maybe. Yeah, actually, now I use the weak language. Remember I said don't use weak language? When am I using weak language now? When it's about their objection. I'm painting their objection in the weakest light. Remember I said weak language? Maybe is maybe a good word to use for you? And maybe we could fix this thing. It means that we might be able to get it going for you today if you spend $1,500 with me. Is that a good way of selling this? So if I put their objection in the weak language, I put that in there. You guys didn't even catch that, did you, before? You never even caught how I was persuading you with that language right there. I'll say, oh, I understand. You know, maybe you do need more time, and you know, it might be up to your advantage to take a little bit extra time to think about this. I understand. I know what you mean. Hey, but can I ask you a question? There we go. Into my question. So I kind of paint what they said in a weaker light. Stop and pause. Can I ask you a question? Can I share something? May I say something? Those are the different variations. Don't always say, can I ask you a question? Don't repeat the same trick over and over again. It doesn't sound good when you're saying, can I ask you a question? Can I ask you a question? Can I ask you a question? It's like saying, excuse me, excuse me, excuse me over and over again. Pretty soon you're just a pest, right? So what does it sound like? Well, John, I understand the economy is tough, but can I share something with you? Yeah, Joe, what is it? Well, when's the last time you bought something that was the best service for cheapest price? Never. So what should we do? I understand, Joe, but we need the weekend to think about it. I understand. Maybe the weekend would be a good assistance. Maybe more time would be good. You know, it might make a difference. I'm not sure. Let me ask you a question, though. Yeah, now go to the question one now. Or instead of share something, now go to question, right? Third one might be, can I say something, Bill? Do you see me always using the first name too? Stick with the first name when you're doing objections. Don't be like the faceless person who I'm talking to. It's Mike. Mike, I understand that it's a lot. Mike, can I say something though? Mike, can I share something? Mike, would you feel that kind of like the connection that we're making there when I say your first name all the time?
Yeah.
If I don't do it, there's like a distance between us we're putting. You're just some mark I'm trying to sell something to now at this point. There's no relationship anymore. I'm losing that relationship. So by all means, when you're doing objections, go with the flow, maybe might. Can I ask you a question? Can I share something? And then have your question. Now, what are your questions going to be on? There's 3 different. How do I come up with all these questions? What do I got? A great memory? I'm just a 50-year-old middle-aged man who, just as bad as you are, I can't remember I can't remember my middle name half the time. You know what I'm saying there? You young guys, you got a big advantage on me. You guys like Quentin and Mike and Morrow, a young guy like him, he can outdo me. And Dustin, he's a little older. He's no, he's a young guy too. They can outdo me. I probably keep up with David a little bit over here. I bet I keep up with him. But nonetheless, you got. It's hard to keep up with these questions. So I have 3 categories where questions come from, and here's where they always come from. Only 3 things. There's 3 different wells to choose from. I'm an artist with 3 colors. The colors. Now, of course, if I say I got the color blue, are there different shades of blue? There are. But I have one, I still got the blue palette, right? I got blue, red, and green. Let's say I got 3 things. What are my 3 things? My one thing is question the situation, which is the first thing we're going to talk about here. Question the situation, I got take responsibility, and I got take it away. Those are 3 things, my 3 tools in the toolbox. Now, there's many different ways of doing those things. When I say question the situation, there's a lot of things I could question. Like if I say something like, when's the last time you bought something where the best service and the best quality was ever the cheapest price? Is that my questioning the situation there? That's questioning it, right? So, Bill, let me ask you a question. So let's get down to it again. Bill, let me ask you a question. Why is buying something cheaper better? Is that questioning the situation? Is it a valid question? If I said something like, John, let me ask you a question. How do you normally purchase? Is that questioning the situation? It is. We're questioning what situation we're talking about. Basically, I'm looking at the situation from a third party's point of view and asking people why we're behaving this way. Why are we, hey John, let me ask you a question. When I first got here, you said you wanted to go forward, and today, now you're saying you got to think about it. What changed? Is that questioning the situation? Yes. How about this one? I'm going to change it up now. I'm going to throw a little curveball at you. So John, let me ask you a question. Did I do something to screw this up? Because when I first got here, you said you want to get the work done. What did I do wrong? What am I using now? Is that responsibility or is that take away? I'm taking responsibility. It's my fault now. I'm blaming myself. That's called falling on the sword, right? Let's just stay with question and situation right now. We're going to talk about responsibility taking away in the next coming slides. What are you missing? One of the things you could question, John, I understand. It's a lot to think about. Can I ask you a question now? Yeah. What am I missing here exactly? Because before I got here, you said you want to get the work done, right? You got people that get commitment twice. You told me twice I'm going to get the work done. I even said before when I first got here, we were just looking at it today. What did you tell me when I said we're just looking at it today?
You want to get it done.
You want to get done. So what should we do? Take a look at it again. So you handled your own objection in that case. But what I started out with the situation, what am I missing, right? Why is that a good way to buy? John, I understand you want to go cheaper and money is a problem. But can I ask you a question? Why is that a good way to go cheaper on this? What are people going to say to that question? Go ahead, give me an answer to it. Why is that a good way to go cheaper?
Well, we just simply can't afford it.
Well, of course, Tom, and money's tight for everybody. But Tom, you can't. So you do like, which option do you like here, though?
Well, that second one down would be the one I'd pick.
But you can't afford that one?
Correct.
Let me ask you a question, Tom. Listen, we're all challenged for money nowadays. I agree. Maybe money is tight, and maybe you can't afford it. But can I ask you a question?
Sure.
Why are you so fixed on the second one if you don't got the money for it? Why don't you go to something more economical? Stop right there. What did I just call it now? Now it's not cheap anymore, is it? Because he can't afford it. I don't want to make him sound bad for buying the bottom ones, right? So why don't you look at something more economical at the bottom, Tom? Then you say what? Maybe you're resistant, maybe you go with it, or maybe you're resistant. No, I do like that second one.
Yeah, I'd really like to get that second one.
You would?
Yes.
All right, so what should we do? So you still can't afford it.
That's the one I want, but I just don't have the money, Joe.
Well, Tom, let me ask you a question. On that one, you don't think you have to pay for that today, do you?
Well, I would assume I would.
Well, I think I made a mistake here, because guess what? Well, I'm not saying I could do this. Let's say I told you that you wouldn't have to pay for this one for a year on this one with no interest or no you'd be able to make small little payments, but these payments have no interest on them. They're going to be very low payments for 1 year, and then you owe the whole balance in 1 year. What would happen if I did that? I'm not saying I could do that, but what would happen if I could do that?
Well, that could be a possibility.
What would happen if I did it, though?
Well, if that'd work out, I think I'd probably go ahead today.
Probably?
Yeah, I think I'd go ahead.
Think?
Go ahead.
What would we do?
Yeah, I'd go ahead with it if we could work that out.
All right, so what should we do?
Well, if we can work that out, I'll go ahead.
Let's check and see. If I check and see what's going to happen, if it's a go, what would happen then?
Then we'd have a deal.
All right, let me go check it out then. All right, now I'm going to go do it for him. I'm not going to do it until he agrees to get the job done first. Why would I go do all the financing stuff unless he's agreed to get the job done, right, guys? Don't get people approved for financing and stuff like that unless you got the job, right? And I heard the weak language, probably, think. I could have both of them. I'm a good listener when it comes to that stuff, right? I lost enough jobs, believe me, to catch that weak language like that, right? I'm not going to let off the hook with that thing. So, question, situation, what changed your mind? Why are you getting so upset? Jack, can I ask you a question? You're getting emotional about this thing. What's getting you so upset about the situation here right now? Why so much emotion? What's going on?
It's just too much money.
Hey, you know what? Listen, can we just agree to calm down a little bit? My job isn't to come here and get you upset. My job is to come here to create a connection with you and come up with a solution for you. Now, last thing I want to do is get you. Have I done a bad job with that, David? Have I upset you? Now I'm going to go to responsibility, because usually I get somebody upset, I'm going to take responsibility for the upsetness. Really? Well, if I did such a great job, guess what we'd be doing right now, David? So what should we do? They're right into it. There we go. Right into responsibility row. What happens with that? Whenever people get upset or get emotional, I like to go into responsibility at that point. Because now you should take responsibility for the people getting upset, right? If you do that, people are always going to say, no, I'm okay. You're going to calm them down with that one. Understand this. Question, situation, no glossing over. If you sense negativity or you sense upsetness, say it. Think of how a child would do it. How a kid who doesn't know any better. You guys used to be good at asking questions when you were children. Then your parents probably beat it out of you. They probably back in the day when I was a kid, our form of the form that I had of child rearing was really, today's world would be called abuse, probably, right? We got a spanking when something went wrong. So we asked a stranger for money or whatever, we'd probably get our hands slapped or something like that. So listen, think of how a child would do it. That's how you should probably do this. Question the situation and then go forward.